You know what's interesting? Everyone talks about the beauty of aging, the wisdom, the grace, the golden years. But what people rarely tell you are the 7 ugly habits many seniors unknowingly pick up as they get older. Habits that quietly steal away their joy, energy, and potential. The truth is, aging itself isn't the problem. How we approach it is. And if we can recognize these 7 traps, we can live with more vitality, purpose, and confidence than we ever imagined. So let's dive into them. Before we begin, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any video. Number 1, they stop dreaming. You know what's heartbreaking? Somewhere along the way, many people begin to believe that dreams have an expiration date. As if once you cross a certain age, you're no longer allowed to want more, to imagine bigger, or to start fresh. But think about it. Wasn't it dreaming that carried you through life in the first place? As children, we dreamed of what we'd become. As adults, we dreamed of building families, careers, and adventures. So why do so many seniors stop giving themselves permission to dream? The truth is, when dreaming stops, life begins to shrink. It's not the number of birthdays that dulls our spark. It's the silent decision to settle, to believe that the best days are behind us. But what if the best days are still waiting for you? What if there's a dream inside you right now, quietly tapping on your shoulder, asking to be given a chance? I remember meeting a man named Paul, who retired at 70. For years he had always said, "One day I'll learn to paint." But life, work, and responsibilities always got in the way. Most people thought it was too late for him to start. But Paul picked up a paintbrush anyway. His first paintings were rough, but he kept going. Within 2 years, his art was hanging in local galleries. When asked why he started so late, he smiled and said, "Because now I finally have the time." His joy was infectious, proof that dreams don't have deadlines. So how do you keep dreaming alive as you age? First, start small. Your dream doesn't have to be climbing Mount Everest. It could be something simple yet meaningful. Writing your family's stories, learning a new language, or finally taking that trip you've always postponed. Second, write your dream down. There's something powerful about seeing it on paper. It makes it real, it makes it yours. And third, take one tiny step toward it. Dreams don't come alive in giant leaps. They come alive in consistent, small actions. Even 10 minutes a day can move you closer to something extraordinary. Ask yourself this: what would excite you if age wasn't even a factor? What would you chase if you believed it was still possible? These questions aren't just nice exercises. They are keys to unlocking a future that still has room for growth, adventure, and joy. The moment you start dreaming again, something inside you wakes up. Energy flows where vision grows. Instead of drifting through days, you start to look forward to them. And isn't that what life is about? Not just existing, but actually living. So don't let your age convince you to retire your dreams. Keep imagining, keep planning, keep reaching. Because the day you stop dreaming is the day you stop truly living. And your story is far from over. Number 2, they complain more than they celebrate. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to slip into complaining? The weather's too hot, the joints ache. The world feels too fast. The service was too slow. Before long, the focus of an entire day revolves around what went wrong instead of what went right. And the more we complain, the heavier life begins to feel. It's almost as if complaining puts blinders on us, hiding the simple joys that are still present all around. The truth is, as people age, it's natural to face discomforts, setbacks, or disappointments. But when complaining becomes the dominant language of life, it doesn't just affect the complainer. It affects everyone around them. People start to pull away, conversations feel draining, and joy becomes harder to find. What many don't realize is that constant complaining doesn't change circumstances. It only magnifies them. Think about it. Does grumbling about the rain make the sun come out faster, or does it just steal your chance to enjoy the sound of fresh drops on the roof? I once knew a woman named Grace who, at 75, was known in her neighborhood as the Sunshine Lady. She had plenty of reasons to complain: arthritis, an old car that broke down often, and a modest income that kept her on a tight budget. But she had a rule for every complaint she thought of. She had to find something to celebrate. One morning, when her knees hurt badly, she laughed and said, "Well, at least I've still got knees to carry me to the porch, and this tea tastes wonderful today." Her neighbors loved being around her because she radiated warmth, even in the middle of her struggles. Grace proved that life isn't about having fewer problems. It's about choosing where to put your attention. So how can we shift from complaining to celebrating? First, practice gratitude in real time. The moment you catch yourself complaining, stop and name one thing you can be grateful for. It could be as simple as a call from a friend, a beautiful sunrise, or even just having another day to try again. Second, change the story you tell yourself. Instead of saying, "I can't do what I used to," try saying, "I get to find new ways to enjoy life." That small shift in language changes your outlook. And third, celebrate small victories. Finished a puzzle. Made a delicious meal. Walked around the block. Applaud yourself. It keeps your spirit alive. Now, ask yourself this: are you spending more energy pointing out what's wrong or lifting up what's right? Which version of you would people rather be around? The one who drains energy or the one who spreads it? The truth is, life is always a mix of challenges and blessings. But when you celebrate more than you complain, your days feel lighter, your relationships feel stronger, and your spirit feels freer. Complaints will always be available, but so will joy. The choice is yours. Number 3, they neglect their health. One of the saddest things I see as people get older is how quickly they start giving up on their health. It often begins with small excuses. "I'm too old to exercise," or "It doesn't matter what I eat anymore." Before long, those excuses turn into habits, and those habits quietly rob them of strength, energy, and independence. The truth is, it's not aging itself that takes vitality away. It's neglect. And the good news is, it's never too late to start paying attention again. Think about it: your body has carried you through decades of challenges, joys, and experiences. Doesn't it deserve some care in return? Imagine a car you've owned for years. If you never change the oil, check the tires, or clean the engine, of course it's going to break down sooner. The same is true for our bodies. Neglect speeds up decline, while even the simplest care can extend quality of life. I remember meeting a woman named Leela, who was 68, when her doctor told her she needed to move more. At first, she resisted. She said, "What's the point now? I'm already old." But eventually, she agreed to start with just 5 minutes of walking each morning. 5 minutes turned into 10, then into 20. Within 6 months, her joints felt better, she was sleeping soundly, and the spark in her eyes had returned. She said, "I thought it was too late to change, but I've never felt more alive." Leela's story is proof that caring for your health doesn't have to mean drastic changes. It just requires small, consistent steps. So, what can you do right now to stop neglecting your health? First, move your body daily in a way that feels right for you. It doesn't have to be a marathon. It could be a gentle walk, stretching, or dancing in your living room. Second, pay attention to what you fuel your body with. More fruits, more vegetables, more water. Simple choices that make a real difference over time. And third, don't ignore checkups. Regular visits to your doctor aren't just about finding problems. They're about preventing them before they grow. Ask yourself, do you want to spend your later years simply surviving or truly living? Do you want to depend on others for every little thing, or keep as much independence as possible for as long as you can? The answer often lies in how well you take care of yourself today. When you prioritize your health, you're not just adding years to your life. You're adding life to your years. It's never about being perfect, it's about progress. And every choice you make, no matter how small, is a message to yourself that you still matter, that you're well, being is worth the effort. Because at the end of the day, health isn't just about the body, it's about giving yourself the freedom to keep living with energy, confidence, and joy. Number 4, they withdraw from people. Have you ever noticed how some people, as they grow older, start to retreat from the world? They say no to invitations, avoid phone calls, and slowly let their social circle shrink until loneliness becomes the norm. At first, it might seem like a harmless choice. I just want my peace and quiet. But in reality, withdrawing from people can be one of the most damaging habits of aging, because human connection is not a luxury, it's a lifeline. The truth is, we are wired to connect. Conversations, laughter, even simple check-ins from friends all keep the mind sharp and the heart light. When seniors begin to isolate themselves, it's not just their social life that suffers. Their health, mood, and even memory can decline. Think about it. How many times have you felt instantly better after talking to someone who truly listens? That feeling doesn't go away with age. It becomes even more important. I once met a man named Harold who, after retiring at 67, decided he didn't need people anymore. He spent most of his days watching television and rarely left the house. Within a few years, his spark dimmed. He looked older than his age, and his once bright personality seemed buried under layers of silence. Then something shifted. His daughter convinced him to join a community gardening group. At first, he resisted, saying, "I don't know anyone there." But after a few weeks, he was not only tending plants but also swapping stories, laughing, and sharing meals with new friends. His daughter later said, "Dad came back to life." Harold's story is a reminder that sometimes reconnecting with people is the very medicine we need. So, how can you keep yourself from slipping into withdrawal? First, make it a habit to reach out, even if it's just one person a day. A phone call, a text, or even a quick visit can make both you and the other person feel valued. Second, say yes more often. The next time someone invites you to coffee or a group activity, resist the urge to decline. You might be surprised at how good it feels to be included. And third, find communities that match your interests. Whether it's a book club, a walking group, or a volunteer project, shared activities create natural opportunities for connection. Now, ask yourself this: are you building bridges or walls with the people in your life? Are you giving yourself the chance to feel the joy of belonging, or are you letting isolation quietly take over? The truth is, withdrawing from people may feel easier in the short term, but it drains life of its color. Reaching out, staying engaged, and surrounding yourself with others keeps the heart young and the spirit alive. Because in the end, it's not the possessions you hold onto that make aging beautiful. It's the relationships you nurture. Number 5, they hold on to bitterness. Have you ever carried something heavy for far too long, a bag, a box, or even just groceries, and felt how it slowly drained your energy? That's exactly what bitterness does to the heart. It's like carrying a weight that no one else can see, but you feel it every single day. As people age, some hold on tightly to old grudges, past betrayals, or regrets. At first, they might think it's harmless, but over time, that bitterness seeps into conversations, relationships, and even their health. Instead of growing lighter with age, they grow heavier. Bitterness often comes from hurt that was never healed. Maybe someone disappointed you. Maybe life didn't turn out the way you thought it would. Maybe you still replay moments you wish you could change. But ask yourself this: does holding on to that pain change the past, or does it only rob you of the joy you could feel today? I once met a woman named Doris, who in her late 70s still spoke bitterly about an old friend who betrayed her decades ago. Anytime her friend's name came up, Doris's face hardened. Her children noticed how that one memory could sour her entire mood. One day her granddaughter asked innocently, "Grandma, why are you still angry if it happened before I was even born?" That simple question hit her like a lightning bolt. Doris realized she had spent years watering the weeds of anger instead of the flowers of joy. Slowly, she began practicing forgiveness, not because her friend asked for it, but because she wanted peace for herself. And little by little, her smile came back. So how can you release bitterness before it takes root too deeply? First, acknowledge it. Pretending you're not hurt doesn't work. Being honest about the pain is the first step toward letting it go. Second, reframe the story. Instead of focusing on what was taken from you, think about what you've learned, how it made you stronger, or how it shaped the person you are today. Third, practice small acts of release. Write down what's bothering you and then tear up the paper. Have one honest conversation you've been avoiding. Or simply choose not to bring up the same old complaint again. Each step lightens the load. Now ask yourself, do you want to spend the years you have left carrying old wounds? Or would you rather travel lighter, freer, and happier? Imagine how different your days would feel if that bitterness no longer lived inside you. The truth is, bitterness doesn't punish the person who hurt you. It punishes you, and you deserve better than that. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means freeing yourself to live fully in the present. When you release bitterness, you open space for peace, joy, and connection. And that, more than anything, makes aging not just bearable, but beautiful. Number 6, they stop learning. Have you ever noticed how a child's eyes light up when they learn something new? that spark of discovery, that excitement of figuring out the world, it's one of the purest forms of joy. But as people grow older, many begin to believe learning is only for the young. They convince themselves they've seen it all, or that it's too late to start. And that's where the danger lies, because the moment you stop learning, you stop growing. Learning isn't just about school or textbooks. It's about keeping the mind alive. It's what keeps curiosity burning and prevents the world from shrinking into a routine of the same old conversations and habits. When seniors stop learning, life becomes repetitive, predictable, and dull. But when they stay curious, every day feels like a new adventure, no matter their age. Ask yourself, when was the last time you tried something completely new, just for the joy of it? I once knew a man named Richard who, at the age of 74, decided to take a photography class. He admitted he didn't even know how to use the camera properly at first. He kept pressing the wrong buttons and laughed at his blurry shots. But he stuck with it. A year later, he was taking breathtaking photos of sunsets, landscapes, and his grandchildren. His eyes lit up as he shared his work, and he often said, "Learning this skill gave me a new reason to wake up excited." Richard's story proves that it's not about perfection. It's about keeping your mind open to growth. So how can you make learning a lifelong habit? First, start small and follow your curiosity. Pick up a book on a subject you've always wondered about, watch a documentary, or try an online class. Second, challenge your brain in simple ways. Crossword puzzles, memory games, or even learning a few phrases in another language can keep your mind sharp. And third, surround yourself with people who inspire curiosity. Join groups or clubs where you can share ideas, discuss new topics, and learn from each other. Think about this. Do you want your later years to feel like you're simply repeating the same day over and over? Or do you want them filled with discovery and excitement? Learning doesn't have to mean big, intimidating goals. It can be as simple as trying a new recipe, mastering a smartphone feature, or picking up a hobby you've never explored. The truth is, staying curious keeps you young. It adds color to your days and keeps your brain active and engaged. When you choose to keep learning, you remind yourself that life is still unfolding, still offering new opportunities. Age might add years to your body, but learning keeps your spirit timeless. And isn't that the kind of energy we all want to carry forward? Number 7, they live in the past instead of the present. Have you ever sat with someone who begins almost every sentence with, "Back in my day"? At first, it can feel nostalgic, even charming, but over time you notice something. They spend more energy looking backward than living forward. Many seniors fall into this trap, clinging to the past so tightly that they forget the present is still theirs to live. While memories are treasures, they're not meant to replace the moments unfolding right now. The past has its place. It shaped who you are, gave you experiences, and taught you lessons. But when you dwell in it too much, you start to miss the opportunities right in front of you. Imagine driving a car while staring only at the rearview mirror. How far could you really go without missing the road ahead? Life works the same way. If your eyes are fixed on what used to be, you miss the joy, connection, and beauty of what is. I remember meeting a man named George, who was once a successful business owner. After retiring, almost every conversation circled back to his glory days. He would retell stories of deals he closed, the office he built, and the recognition he received. While those were great achievements, he grew increasingly bitter that those days were gone. Then one afternoon, his grandson asked him to help build a treehouse. At first, George brushed it off, saying, "I don't do those things anymore." But when he finally agreed, something shifted. Hammer in hand, working side by side with his grandson, he laughed, told new stories, and created new memories. Later he admitted, "I've spent so much time missing the past that I forgot I could still make great moments now." That treehouse became a symbol, not of what he once had, but of what he could still create. So how can you stop living in the past and start embracing the present? First, practice mindful gratitude. Each day, focus on one thing happening today that brings you joy. A conversation, a good meal, or even a walk outside. Second, limit how often you repeat the same old stories. Instead, challenge yourself to share something new you experienced that week. And third, intentionally create fresh memories. Try a new activity, explore a new place, or spend time with someone younger who brings new energy into your life. Ask yourself this: do you want to be remembered as someone who only talked about the good old days, or someone who kept creating good days until the very end? The answer to that question will shape how you spend your time. The truth is, the past is a chapter you've already written. It's part of your story, but it's not the whole book. The present is where life is happening, and the future is still waiting to be written. When you choose to live in the now, you not only honor the past, you give yourself permission to keep adding beautiful, meaningful pages to your story. So, those are the 7 ugly things seniors often do. They stop dreaming, complain more than they celebrate, neglect their health, withdraw from people, hold on to bitterness, stop learning, and live in the past. But here's the good news. Every single one of these is a choice. You don't have to fall into these traps. You can dream bigger, celebrate more, care for your health, stay connected, let go of bitterness, keep learning, and embrace the present. Aging isn't about fading, it's about evolving. Your later years can be the richest, most fulfilling chapter of your life if you refuse to let these ugly habits define you.